Good day, good evening, or good middle of the morning. I don't know, to the whole 3 people that might be watching this. So this is my first video, and I wanted my first video to be some sort of puff piece where I thank the long and growing list of YouTubers that indirectly gave me the courage and motivation to start a channel. And I wanted to go on about, it's not about the likes and the subs and all the other shit that you hear on YouTube all the time. I really wanted to take a moment to offer why it is I decided to start a channel and what Sketchy Hoods is and how I thought we might be able to offer something different, unique, refreshing. And I also wanted to offer some opinion on how those in this internet community of ours have shaped politics and how if we as a community could all band together, we might actually be able to make a difference. Well, it's not going to happen, at least not in the way I'd imagined. You see, one of my heroes, one of my inspirations, has shown what appears to be a de-evolution, a spiraling descent into the throes of self-inflicted pain known as social justice. Although he's not a social justice warrior, far from it. He's essentially espousing the same nonsense and its application to the hardcore totalitarian left. While evident in his YouTube videos, it's even more transparent in his Twitter posts. He went as far to quote the Young Turks. Yeah, I kid you not. Actually quoted the Young Turks. And he does this while alienating half of his audience by, allow me to paraphrase, telling his subscribers that disagree to piss off if they don't like it. He's even gone as far to not respond to debate and offers of countering opinions. I've tried many times to get the attention of this self-appointed leader of what he calls logic and reason. And we all know by the video title, at this point, I'm speaking of Thunderf00t. But before I get into it a little further, I want to be clear about a few things. Give you a little background on me as well. I'm biased. Yep, have an opinion, but I base this opinion on observations and have drawn conclusions on what I feel to be the logical reduction of fact. Facts not to support a predisposed opinion, rather facts to form an opinion, and that is always open for debate. If anything I say here, somebody has a countering opinion and can offer some form of evidence to support that opinion, I will always be open to it. A little bit more. I'm Italian by heritage. I can speak it. I can definitely eat it. Oh yeah, love Italian food. I was born to immigrants. And with that said, I'm an American. I was born here. I'm an American by birth. I'm also a libertarian. I hope that if you guys enjoy what you see here, to do a video on that subject. I'm an atheist. I believe that one should be able to spend their life with whomever they choose and should be able to have the same benefits that any other couple is afforded. And there's a lot of other topics that put me not quite left, not quite right, somewhere in the center. I believe people should have a greater amount of personal freedom and lesser amount of government influence in your daily life. I supported Trump. Not the Trump can do no wrong, because God knows I love that, being atheist, God knows. God knows there's so much wrong with his presidency. But I supported him in respect to the economy, his implied anti-social justice warrior stance in the anti-political, PC political culture. I'm not homophobic, xenophobic, anti-woman, anti-equal rights, or anti-science. I am pro-choice, ascribe my existence to the pursuit of actuality through empirical evidence, and support many policies that aid the poor. Although, I got to be clear, I'm actually pretty financially conservative. I'll explain a lot of this in other videos if I make them or whatever. But I'm not right-wing, I'm not left-wing or any other label. I'm like I believe most rational people to be, somewhere right in the middle. I like ideals from both sides and believe that matters should be reviewed on a case-by-case basis and not applied to an entire class or race or group. So you might ask, with all this openness and new idea, what the hell's got me in a tiz over Thunderf00t? Well, there's a few things. First of all, I don't mind that he has a differing opinion. In fact, I encourage it. What's really got me pissed is that he's closed himself off from the debate that, he claims that he has beliefs in foundations of science, and he's a chemist and he's a scientist, and I can respect that. I can respect any time somebody has a differing opinion and is willing to debate that opinion and accept information from any source that might counter that opinion and analyze it and reassess, do I really feel like I feel? The position that he's taken mirrors that of a social justice warrior. How? Well, real simple. Look at all the SJWs. Look at BLM. Look at anybody who has an indefensible position. They argue. They say you can't argue back. They shut you down. They close off comments or simply don't respond. That's ubiquitous amongst the people in the totalitarian left who think that we need to accept a 40-some-odd-year-old man who dresses like a 6-year-old girl and wants to pee in a girl's bathroom. You can't argue it. You're racist. You're homophobic. You're whatever. And most people aren't. I just don't want a 40-some-odd-year-old man in a 6-year-old girl's bathroom. You know, if we're toddlers or just above toddlers. And Thunderfoot's taken a similar position. He's gone and said that this is the way I feel. And if you don't like it, piss off. That causes me to have to react. And I have to respond. And it changes the shape of the first video I wanted to do in that this has gone on enough. I lived in Europe for a while. And even being there for a while, I was younger, but even being there for a while, I couldn't honestly opine on like how a particular politician might be suited for this position or that position. I don't even know what they have to believe on their left and right to be elected in those positions or considered left and right. I am involved in U.S. politics on a daily basis. I've had to live them. So I understand all the nuances that Thunderfoot is missing, but none of that's really the point. The point that he's not open to debate. We look at the situation between Lauren Southern and Thunderfoot as of recent, where this is kind of ridiculous because he's unable, because he's clouded his vision. He's unable to draw the parallels between the Antifa that was present during the Black Bloc and anti-Trump. They're obviously anarchists. There's zero doubt. But in the type of anarchism that they practice, which is, really socialism, they would be against Trump by very premise. But it's further supported by the signs, the banners, the writings that they left, the graffiti where it was anti-Trump. So it wasn't a far stretch for somebody who was on the ground in D.C. that day that Thunderfoot wanted to make a video on, calling Lauren Southern dishonest. He took the most dishonest approach possible. He detached, because he's a hard leftist. So he detached his personal beliefs of leftism and he focused only on the fact that they were anarchists. You can actually have two beliefs. You could be an anarchist who believes that they don't like Trump, or that they don't like Hillary, or they don't like, you can have multiple beliefs. In fact, most people are made up of a series of beliefs, and we define ourselves by what we believe in. When you close yourself off to debate, you're no better than the piss ants that you spent a long time developing a very loyal following. You're no better than them. You have literally put yourself in a position that reflects exactly what you've been fighting against. I've tried a number of times, as stated, to try to get you to respond to, hey, I understand how you're feeling this way. Would you be willing to discuss this? Just friendly discussion, and you're closing yourself down for it. It's just wrong. You are an absolute twat when it comes to U.S. politics, Thunderfoot, and I really wish that you could go back to when you were relevant. Like, the days you were discussing Neutronian. I love your gummy bear experiments. Who doesn't? Who doesn't want to see a gummy bear melt gold with a gummy bear? Who else does, things like that? So we're disheartened by your position only because you've taken I won't defend it stance. I'm just going to say some things. It doesn't matter if there's any truth. It doesn't matter if there's evidence to suggest otherwise. Nope. I'm just going to say it. And if you don't like it, I'm going to put my fingers in my ears and act like a 3-year-old. And if you can't see the parallel between the very people you fought against and where you're at right now, then you're beyond help. It reminds me a lot of Madonna's position as of recent, where She put herself in front of the world as a leader of feminism and female justice. And in doing so, she made some ridiculous statements that she can't turn back from. Her community that she's supposed to represent won't respect her. Everyone else who was offended by what she said would take it as completely insincere. So she's kind of boxed herself in. And when I see people I respect a lot, and in the grand scheme of things, I mean, let's be honest, Thunderfoot's opinion and his willingness to discuss it doesn't mean shit. The world's still going to spin, and I'm going to wake up tomorrow and eat breakfast, and eat dinner tonight. None of that's going to change. It's just a shame that we can pick somebody apart for their beliefs, like Thunderfoot's done for so long, and then employ the same tactics against people who have a differing opinion and not see what you're doing is exactly what you fought against. But as a follower of yours and a subscriber of yours, and to all your subscribers, I think you owe them a little bit more than what you've been giving. And I would like to continue to follow you. And I'm going to, pump your channel like I would anybody else's that I like. But it doesn't change that you're just wrong. So that's pretty much it for my first YouTube video. Like I said, it's not everything that I wanted it to be. It's raw. It's unscripted. It's kind of shit, but I'll let you guys be the judge. Before I get out of here, I'd like to make a few honorable mentions here because I did say there was a lot of YouTubers that gave me the courage and strength to get on YouTube. And in no particular order, I'm going to go over a few of them, one of which is Bearing. Bearing, dude, awesome work. And that goes for, which I can only assume is Mrs. Bearing, which is Sweet Tits. I'd like to make a big thanks to guys like Andy Worski, and I'd like to give a shout out to Planet Dolan and Nixium. Nixium, thanks for all the killer animations that you do. It's fantastic. Jack's Films, a very entertaining channel on YouTube. If you haven't watched any of his stuff, I recommend starting with Your Grammar Sucks. It's abbreviated. Episode 99, the Mega Rap. It's fantastic. Very clever. Crowton T. Sargon. We all know at this point who Sargon is. He doesn't even really need mentioned. He's kind of a powerhouse on YouTube. Mr. Dapperton. If you guys haven't been following Mr. Dapperton, then you really need to check him out. I'm going to put links to all this in the description here somehow. Rags, Wrecked Feminist Videos, Shoe on Head, Armored Skeptic, Logic, without a doubt. One of my favorite guys, too, is Logic. There's a bunch of them, and every time I do this, I'm going to try to give a couple shout-outs. I think it's important that we like-minded in this community. I'm not saying that any of my opinions reflect anybody that I just mentioned, but I identify with them, so I watch them. So, I want to give them a little credit. Add maybe 2 or 3 more subscribers to them because that's pretty much all I've got at the moment. But anyway, that's it for my first video. And of course, I'm not going to forget to thank Thunderfoot. He was one of the people who gave me the courage and strength to do what I wanted to do. It's a shame to see him take the social justice way of arguing his position. I hope that logic and reason wins in the end there, but until then, I have to take everything he says as if he's absolutely full of shit because he won't defend his positions and won't argue them. That puts him in the same basket as social justice warriors. Anyway, that's it for my first video. I hope you enjoyed. I guess I'm supposed to ask you to like or subscribe, or I don't know. Do whatever the hell you want to do. If you don't like it, don't like it. If you like it, you like it. And if you want to click around on the screen, well, that's fine too. Anyway, have a good one.